Thank you for tuning in to the State Farm Sports Update. This is what we'll consider week 0. We'll be bringing you updates to all the local sports action in and around Oskaloosa and South Central Iowa from week to week. This week we'll do a little preview. We've got a couple interviews, one with Jake Jenkins, the new head coach at Oskaloosa High School, and another with Cass Stubbs, the new head coach at North Mahaska High School just north of us. Just to give you a little bit of a preview of what's getting ready to happen here this week. Big week for the Oskaloosa Indians as they travel to Pella. Two-time defending state championship Pella Dutch. Don't think I've lost a football game in about what seems like a coon's age. But we'll be taking the Oskaloosa Indians up there for their first match away from home. Jake Jenkins, it'll be his first week on the sideline. You'll hear more from him just a little bit later. Coach Cass Stubbs, the North Mahaska Warhawks, will be on the road as they travel to Belle Plaine and will battle the Plainsmen of Belle Plaine for week number 1. So we'll be updating you on what happened the week before on Friday night. We'll be getting you ready for the Friday coming up. We'll be sharing all the scores from the area teams. We've got the Oskaloosa Indians, the North Mahaska Warhawks, the Rockets of Eddyville, Blakesburg, Fremont. We'll also maybe reach out the Cobras of Sigourney, Keota. We've got, let's see who else we got at Pella Christian. The Eagles of Pella Christian returned quite a few seniors on that team. Wayne of Corden, Pella, Tumwa Bulldogs, the Chargers of Sheraton, Centerville, and Albia. So we'll be breaking down all those scores and keeping you up to date with what's happening in South Central Iowa and what's happening on the gridiron. So again, this is the State Farm Sports Update. I'm your good neighbor agent, Wyndell Campbell, State Farm in Oskaloosa, and we'll be bringing you all the action here in 2016. And now for more of what's going to happen with the Oskaloosa Indians, we sat down with Jake Jenkins, the new high school football coach here in Oskaloosa, as he hits the sidelines for his first year as head coach. Oskaloosa Indians, Jake Jenkins. So we're here live in State Farm Studios, Oskaloosa, Wyndell Campbell KIC Friday Night Lights. This year we'll be bringing you every Friday night. I'll actually be following North Mahaska as they battle in the Class A division. But here with me today, I've got Coach Jake Jenkins with the Oskaloosa Indians, first-year head coach. Jake, I appreciate you coming in, spending some time with us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. An exciting time here in Oskaloosa. A lot of great things happening. We're coming off a state championship year for the girls softball. Got some kids doing some wonderful things. Today we want to talk a little bit about the Oskaloosa Indian football team, what we're looking forward to here in 2016. So kind of like to start, I know some history, but some of the people out there may not know exactly where you come from and what you do. But talk a little bit about, growing up on the sidelines and kind of where you're from and where you've been.
Well, I grew up in a football family, which was, obviously got me into football, being around it all the time. As a kid, I was a ball boy. I lived right down the street from our stadium, so I was there all the time and grew up being around high school kids. And that's how I really gained a love for it, with my dad being the head football coach for 17 years in Newton. And he ended up being a Hall of Fame coach and someone I looked up to a lot, still look up to a lot. And that's where I gained my first love for the sport. And then I started playing tackle football in 7th and 8th grade and into high school, and had a fairly good tradition in Newton. And so I wanted to be a part of that, and our group did as well, and ended up having a pretty decent season our senior year. And I think we were ranked up as high as 3rd in the state. So that meant a lot to me. And then out of high school, ended up going to college at Northwest Missouri State, and I played Division II football there. Got to play in a couple national championships, which was fun. Unfortunately, we lost both of them, but it was a good experience. Feeling like, at that stage and at that level, it was awesome. And ended up transferring my last couple of seasons to play at William Penn for Coach Todd Hafner here in Oskaloosa. And Oskaloosa has been home ever since.
Well, we're certainly glad to have you. And you have been part of the Oskaloosa football program, yep. More behind the scenes here in most recent years. But tell me about, the day they call and they say, Jake, you're the guy, you're the head coach. What sort of kind of feelings go through your head at that point? And Colin, you kind of downplayed your Newton upbringing a little bit. Your dad's a Hall of Fame coach in the state of Iowa, so your pedigree is certainly there for winning and putting a winner out on the field. But
yeah, it was a great way to grow up. I always say I had the best childhood ever. Great parents, great upbringing, great community too. And as soon as I moved to Oskaloosa, I started to feel that as well. Mm-hmm. And so to start to feel that the community support really, really is nice. And back to your question about, the phone call, it actually, I was brought into an office, with the athletic director and then some administrators, and they told me it was bittersweet, just the way things happened. So I was excited. I had feelings both ways, but very excited for the coaching opportunity to step into that role, and then the wheels started spinning. What do I want to do? And I had been thinking about it a long time, but then it was really okay. It's time to get to work. When they told me, it was kind of funny. And they go, "Are you going to smile? Are you going to celebrate?" I go, "There's no time to celebrate, guys. We have so much work to do." So yes, it's very exciting. But I just know there's a lot that goes into it. So I just want to be super prepared, so it's time to get to work.
Yeah, the rubber hits the road, and really you can't start to prepare too soon.
Right.
They always say, as soon as that last game's over, take about 20 minutes, and then the off season starts right away.
Yep.
And so, thinking about coming into 2016, and really your kids staying in tune with the Booster Club and seeing what's going on. Your kids have had a busy summer. You want to talk a little bit about what we've had going on here for the summer?
Oh, for sure. It's been a great summer, and we've had a great opportunity to team up with William Penn, which is really nice. We have those resources out there, and in my opinion, some of the best strength and conditioning guys, not just in the state of Iowa, but in the nation. And so when I was at Penn, their strength and conditioning, my numbers personally went through the roof, and I know, my friends and other athletes on the team, we're doing awesome things in the weight room, and then that translated directly to the field. So when Coach Parker and I started sitting down talking about the weight room and talking about the possibility of having some of those college strength and conditioning coaches there that are certified, I mean I can't tell you how excited I was. And so I said, this is something, if we can do it, we have to do this. This could not only help football but can help all athletics. So this summer they've been going 4 days a week, unless they're baseball players. They've been going 3 days a week during the season, and they've been doing tremendous things in there. I mean, been making big gains. And I was telling somebody the other day, I think it was Tim Scott at the high school, we had 2 guys that squatted over 500 pounds, in high school. That is unbelievable. So I attribute that to the William Penn strength and conditioning coaches. They're doing a great job, and I just can't tell you, it's been awesome. It's been an awesome addition to what we have going on.
A great partnership, and sports, being an educator and then also trying to fill your time with all the things that are being a head coach, it's very tough to bring those assistant coaches in or have enough time in the weight room, because really, the teachers need the summer just about as much as what the kids do in a lot of instances. And
yes.
When you feel that, it's 6 a.m. workouts, and it's tough. And so to have that partnership with William Penn, and you can follow that. Oskaloosa Indian Booster Club has a great Facebook page that has profiled some of that stuff, and then the newspaper here and the Herald has done some stuff with that as well. So
you bet.
So practice getting ready to start, kicking off next week?
Yep, next Monday.
Okay.
Yep.
What a great time of year. We get a lot of people. It's fair time's kind of coming. Everybody gets excited for the state fair getting ready to kick off in Des Moines. But whenever I look at my calendar, I say, okay, Friday Night Lights starts here in a couple of weeks, and just the enjoyment. For me. Talk a little bit about so your assistant coaches. You do have some changes on both sides of the ball coming into this year.
You bet.
Talk a little bit about who you have coordinator wise and who's going to be helping you out.
Well, on offense, I'll start there. We have Coach Brett Dowd, who's at the middle school. He's a middle school teacher as well, so he'll be taking over as the offensive coordinator. And he's an Indian through and through, and he's had a lot of experience at the college level, and he's a great person and he's a good coach. So I'm really glad to have him back. That's going to help a lot. Then offensive line is changed. We have Coach Nick Eversmeyer, and so he's taking over the line, and he's going to take a lot of things that he learned while he was at Western Illinois. And so a lot of things that he did in college. He was a Division I lineman. Yep. He has a good pedigree.
The Leathernecks of Western Illinois, I believe. They were at Gateway Conference when I was at Missouri State. That is absolutely correct.
Yep. That's good trivia right there.
Yeah.
In fact, this morning at practice, he had those shorts on. I'm like, that's a good trivia question. So he's doing a good job there. Travis Miller is going to stay with running backs. He was a great athlete for the Indians as well, so good to have him there. I'm going to stay defensive coordinator on that side of the ball, and then Coach Mike Sterner is going to be linebacker coach, and that's a great niche for him. That's what he loves to do.
It's a good strengths point for him.
He's really good at it.
Sure.
And the defensive line is Coach Bill Pester, and he's been a new addition, and he got to kind of take over Nick's switch sides, and so that was a good area for him to step right into, and he's excited about that as well. So then Scott Van Veldhuizen is also helping out the varsity with the offensive line. So
Scott, a guy that's been involved with the program for quite a while as well. And so with that, and I talk a little bit about coaches, and as you kind of change things, you got some guys switching sides of the ball. As we think of Oskaloosa football and really some great some legacy there. There's been some great football here in the past.
For sure, yeah.
Talk about maybe some challenges that you have, or as you come in and kind of create your culture here within the Oskaloosa Indians. What things, I guess, maybe excited you the most about, hey, I want to take the reins as a head coach, and here's where I think our program could go?
Well, there's a lot of great things about Oskaloosa. There's a lot of good people and a lot of good kids, and I've been fortunate enough to be a part of a few pretty good programs, whether it be high school or in college, and I just know that feel, and it's like there's nothing better, Mm-hmm. So I want that feel and that culture back, and I've had a lot of good coaches to learn from, and I've had a couple of coaches that I've learned from, and the other, the things I don't want to do with players. So I just want to get that culture back and get the kids to believe in themselves again, and I've had a lot of good conversations with this upcoming group of seniors. Great group, just a great group. Guys that I was talking to my wife last night, and I'm like, gosh, I'm already going to miss those guys. And I'm thinking, why am I thinking about that? I need to be thinking about, let's be positive here. I got these guys for a whole year.
I got 3 more months to have them out on the field with you as well.
Exactly. So there's a lot of positivism going around, but it's changing that mentality. And we've had a lot of conversations, and they've said it's been a while since we've consistently won games, and what are we going to do? And we're talking about the secret to winning and that. And I said, guys, there's really no secret. It's the summertime. It's the time you've been putting in, and it's giving maximum effort every single day, day in and day out. And then it's being better than your best self the next day, and then the following day, and the following day. Not trying to be something you're not, but just being your version of your best self. And we're concentrating on that. And we've picked up tempo too. We picked up tempo in the weight room, and that it's translated onto the field as well. So those are a couple keys.
And like I say, a lot of times winning is going to cure all that ails. It's not always about winning and losing when you step on the field, and especially as a new coach coming in, you've got to instill your program values and what you want to do. But it does help to win a few games here and there, and to build that up.
Keeps the excitement, and I know my dad being a coach, a guy I looked up to a lot. He didn't really talk about winning and losing a lot. It was more just doing your best, and then win, lose, or draw, you can live with the outcome. And I've kind of, I get that. The older I get, the more it means to me, not just in football, but in life as well. So just getting the guys to buy into that. And if we do give our greatest effort with 11 guys on the field at all times, good things are going to happen. Winning can take care of itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you mentioned it, missing your seniors. Talk about some of your seniors that you have coming back in this year, kind of their roles on the team, and the team we're going to be seeing on the field on Friday nights.
You bet. So we have a quarterback. We have Ethan Arnold, who's back, and he looks good. He looks strong. He's very poised. He's trying to get a feel for the new offense. There's a lot of excitement. You just see it. You see it in their eyes. You see it in their faces. You see it in their reactions. You see it when they're running around the field. Jack Moore's a guy you can't help but like. We have him at our wide receiver, or like your tight end, but sometimes he's split out. Jack jumps out of the gym, and he's a really good athlete. We were doing testing this morning, and he tested very well. Him and Bennett Spry was flying around the field. He had the fastest 40 time this morning, and I thought, for being electronic, I was pretty happy with what Bennett ran, what several of the guys ran.
Right.
Tucker Nunnekoven's up there with speed-wise too. He'll be one of the guys that's out there running around catching passes and blocking for us, and Ethan Kelderman. So those are kind of your skill guys on the offensive side, and gotta love guys that have been in the weight room pushing it to the max, like Van Veldhuizen. He's been working really hard. He's a tough kid. He'll see both sides of the ball. Offensive, defensive.
When you talk about Van Veldhuizen, he's a guy that's got some good role models, and his dad being involved with the program, and older brother playing with William Penn. He's going to be playing on Saturdays out here at Lacey Complex as well.
You bet.
Good pedigree with him.
Oh, absolutely, and their work ethic is unbelievable. I had Nate in high school, got to coach him, and I told Hafner, I said, you got to get this guy. This guy's awesome. And he goes, well, I know. He goes, you're not telling me anything I don't know. Yeah, he was all over him, and so we're glad to keep him in town and have him part of that. And then, guys like Matt Heineck, he's really been turning the corner, as a senior. I was talking to him yesterday. He got up at 6 o'clock to get in there, and he was running. He was doing weights. And then he went to band from 8 in the morning till 3:30. And then at 3:30, he started practice for us. He was outside all day, the entire day. And I went up to him. I said, "How you doing?" So you got to be a little little hot? Are you a little tired? Are you a little worn out? And he just looked at me. He goes, I'm in the best shape of my life, and I'm ready for this. So he's a guy, you got to love stuff like that. You got to love hearing that.
You got to love the kids that know that they're making strides and doing it. And, whoever's watching this at home or listening to this may not realize, but yesterday was, about 90 degrees and about 95% humidity. It felt like a good portion of the day. So when we're talking about a kid being outside basically from sun up to sundown.
Yeah, that's a lot.
In situations like that. Even though they're young, it's a lot
it's still,
to ask.
Yep, you bet.
So you have some of the defensive side of the ball on some of your seniors there as well.
You bet. So can't forget about that. So Blake will also be playing tackle for us on defense. Van Veldhuizen, look for him. Defensive ends, Peyton Krause is as football savvy as they come. I mean, he's a tough kid, but he's a smart kid, and so look to him at defensive end. Blake Meinslin as well. We have some returners and linebackers. Addison Vanderwall is, he's a hustle type of kid, guy that flies around, guy that gives 100% effort at all times. He's a great leader with his actions, but also, vocally, he's a good leader. Clayton Danner's in the mix too. Jason Beebe is going to see more time on the defensive side than he did last year. He's going to play Sam Backer for us. We think that's a good move. We think he's a defensive guy. Jack will have a little bit of time on defense, maybe even more than offense. We'll see what happens at Mike Backer. Then there's the secondary, which I really like. Guys like Connor Swim and Seth Sarver and Andy Sterner. Bennett, free safety, and then looking at Jaden Van Ruckel and some other names to fill in. I feel pretty good about our two deep. We just got to be solid on both sides of the ball. So Coach Dowd and I have had a lot of conversations, and the coaching staff in general going to have a lot more conversations about where these guys are going to fit in. And if we do have two-way guys who can handle it and still, play to that high intensity level.
So as we kind of look at that, and I don't want to give away too much because there's going to be there's going to be video as soon as you guys step on the field. But there's going to be teams around us that are going to want to know, hey, what's changing in Oskaloosa?
Right.
But, as we look at the schedule, and if we could talk about the schedule for just a little bit.
You bet.
August, I think it's 26th, first game for you guys. You guys have Pella coming in.
You bet.
Pella, a two-time state champion, hasn't lost a game. I don't know if they've lost a football game since I've moved to Oskaloosa, and that's been a few years ago. But they've had some good teams. So as you're preparing that, talk a little bit about your schedule and, the new districts that we're coming up in and some of the newer teams we're going to see. Your team's going to go on, get on the bus and have to travel to Fort Madison, Solon, Upland, Iowa City, a traditional program or a traditional powerhouse up there.
Yeah, you bet.
We're going to have to get on the bus and travel to Keokuk, which
that's a long way.
That might as well be Illinois as far as.
You bet.
So talk a little bit, about the schedule and some of those challenges, but. It's going to be a fun year.
Oh, I totally agree. Yeah, open up with Pella. You have to say, Coach McKinstry is a great coach. He's a great guy. I mean, I've got to know him the last few years, and he actually coached in the Shrine Bowl with my dad. Okay. A couple decades ago, probably. It's been a while ago. That was at Drake Stadium, and so I've got to reconnect with him, and he does things right. He's a good coach, and he has a great program, and they have a lot of kids doing the right things, working really hard. We'd like to get to that caliber. Obviously, we want to be able to play with them. So that's our first challenge. Is a big challenge. Right off the bat with a new offense, going in and playing them, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what we can do. We're excited about our seniors and our juniors, and we're excited with what's going on offense. And not going to give away too much, but we are going to look different. We're going to have a lot of different offensive sets, and we are going to try to be very balanced out of those sets. And we have a lot of little wrinkles that we're trying to throw in here and there, and there's a lot of learning going on right now. So I know it doesn't give away a lot, but it's a little bit of a sneak peek, I guess.
And you know what? And that's what I want people to go out on Friday nights and watch the Oskaloosa Indians. I don't want them to just think they know what's going to happen. So right. I would just rather them go out on Friday nights and support you and see the fun that's going to happen on the field.
I will say we're going to look different, and you never know quite how that's going to look, and I just hope it's a really good different, and that's what we're planning on. And some things that we've seen the first 5 days of practice, a couple times I've gone home and I told my wife, man, our offense took it to our defense today, and I didn't expect that fast. And then other times they came home and we have a lot of work to do. So it's been both ways, but no, I will say the excitement is there, and it's been there, and it's continued to stay. So we're going to keep that going into our first game.
Absolutely. Well, as we lead up to that, we do have about 3 weeks of practice. August 26th, you guys kick off. A night I know they're going to be looking forward to here in Oskaloosa. Again, I'll be on KAICradio.com channel 5. I'll be following the North Mahaska Warhawks this year, but you can tune in to the local station and listen to the coverage of the Oskaloosa Indians. Jake, anything you want to include before we kind of wrap up and get ready for the season?
We're just super excited to get things going. We want the community to show up. We'd like to have a lot of numbers there at our home games, and on the away games as well. We want the support. I know the guys, I see a fire in their eyes that I haven't seen from them. I've known them since they were in middle school, so I see a lot of excitement there. And I think as the community rallies around them and we get that support, and the kids see it and they see what they can do, I think we could have some fun things happen, some pretty special things happen this year. So.
Yep. Well, wish you all the luck in the world, Jake. We appreciate you taking a little bit of time out of your schedule. I know with practice and stuff, it's hard to get away. But again, you can catch the Oskaloosa Indians here starting Friday, August 26th, as they welcome Pella to town. I believe a home game.
We're at Pella.
At Pella.
We're at
So
Pella.
at
First
Pella.
home game is going to be the following week against Grinnell.
So Grinnell will be here the following week, but start out with Pella. So, Jake, I appreciate you stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
For all those of you out there listening to us, KIC Radio, Friday night.